like I said, this whole class is an intro, but we're gonna go back there and do stuff that you need to know. For example, one thing that's not covered in these 5 chapters is like backup, right? You guys remember we did backup in level 1, right? All right, well, level 2, or level 3 rather, you'll do some backup and restores and save your server data and whatever else. But we're also gonna do a bare metal restore, and who knows what that is? Yep, one. A bare metal restore is, think of your computer being bare metal. You sit down, you plug it in, you push the button, turn it on, and it just blinks at you, like the cursor blinks, and it says operating system, not found or something, because nothing's there. You have a hard drive in there and it crashed. So what you'll have to do is you'll set up a computer and we'll back it up, and then I'll go over to the computer and delete everything on the hard drive. I'll run what's the program, diskpart, and just type clean and hit enter, and it's all gone. And then you guys will restore it, and it works great. Or unless you do it wrong, then you lost everything. So it's good to learn that kind of stuff before you need to know it. Did I tell you the story about our server in Greenville in 2006? Was anybody born in 2006? Yeah, 1? Okay, 2. So in 2006, we had a server and a bunch of disks, an array of disks, right, attached to it with a fiber optic cable. So it's real fast. Well, anyway, that controller that's connected to that fiber, it just, died one day. And so the data's still there, but the server couldn't communicate with the array to get the data, right? So it took us a day and a half to get this card, because it was a third-party card, it wasn't HP's. It took us a day and a half to get it. But anyway, I had a system set up, and the users could all, like with Amazon.com or something, they browse to what they want to buy, so they browse to what file they want, and when they click restore, it just basically downloads it to their desktop. And we worked for a day and a half with no server, with like 40 engineers or something. And if you walked through the office, you would have never known the server was down. Everybody had their heads down, everybody's working. We made, I'm sure we made hundreds of thousands of dollars, over that day and a half. Where if the stuff didn't work, it might have cost us $100,000, So anyway, with cyber, you're trying to keep your data up, trying to make it available to your users. And that's something we did. And like I was saying, that bare metal restore, it's good that we practice this stuff in here so that the day that you need it, you know it works. And that's not the day you just figure out how it works. Get on YouTube and watching YouTube and I know it's supposed to work, and find out you did something wrong. So, this chapter is about your data, where this stuff exists, okay? Let's see, you guys probably don't use Facebook. What do you use, Instagram? What else?
Discord.
You guys use Facebook?
Snapchat, Twitter.
Oh, yeah, Market, that's the only thing I use for too. I'd get rid of Facebook if I could get Marketplace just on its own app.
Snapchat, Twitter, Insta, YouTube, Twitch.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, you got an online identity, and you got data out there that's yours, okay? You got usernames, things that you got on different sites. And this talks a little bit about that kind of stuff. I've been going to the VA a lot. You guys know the VA is Veterans Administration Hospital? Yeah, see, I never have used it until really didn't know it was even available to me, honestly. Well, I've been going to the VA a lot. And so I went up there last week and got all my medical records and stuff. And all that stuff's protected data. I was watching them when they were on the other side of the computer and they're doing whatever, and they click print and it's all coming out, on the printer that they give it to me. And I was thinking about how that is all, there it is, medical data right there. It's all protected data. And you guys heard of HIPAA?
HIPAA?
Yes.
I like
Not HIPAA, HIPAA.
I like HIPAA.
HIPAA.
Yeah, I like HIPAA. HIPAA is let's see, I can't remember, health insurance, privacy. Yeah, and basically, it's health insurance guidelines where that data's gotta be protected. And people go to jail over that stuff. So, that's important, to protect. And obviously, financial data, and, employment data, obviously that stuff you wanna protect. All this stuff I just mentioned here, education records and so forth. Tax records, we wanna protect that stuff. We got a 5-year-old, well, he'll be 5, 5-year-old grandson that I talk about all the time. And he wants to play with my phone all the time. Now Karen gives him her phone, and I say, you're not getting my phone, I got stuff on here, and he doesn't understand. I'm like, I don't care. I said, you're not getting my phone.
You got any games on your phone?
What's that?
You got any games on your phone?
I got work.
That's valid, that's valid.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah, but no, this thing, to be honest, I hate technology. I hate this stuff.
I hate technology, but I work in the field. Yeah.
It's my job, but I ride mountain bikes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you showed us your nephew or something?
Yeah, well, for 9 years, I rode a mountain bike for 1 year, so mountain bikes got, now they got 12 years. And for 9 years, I rode a single speed. And, you guys know I deer hunt, or I have deer hunted. Well, most all my life I bow hunt, and so I always, I kind of don't like things that are simpler, I don't like to.
I tried riding on that every single day. Very hard.
Dad, what?
That single speed.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But anyway, you got a ton of information. All right, listen, you got some stuff. You got a ton of information on these phones. I straight up told some kids last year, what their passwords were on their phones. One student in let's see. Yeah, Ty, I told him what his password was. Straight up told him what it was. And then that afternoon, somebody in level 3, I guess last year. I guess it's level 3. Yeah. I told him. I said, hey, you got an iPhone? He said, yeah. I said, is your passcode 4 digits? He said, yeah. I said, is it 0407? And his eyes got like this big. He said, how you know that? So.
It's because I was watching.
Cybersecurity.
But you put it in.
You should have a good password on this. Your data is on here.
Yeah, this one, mine's my face.
So you
How'd you
should
figure it
know.
out?
What's that?
How'd you figure it out?
You guys want to know how I figured it out?
Stood behind him and watched him put it
I
in.
told him I was reading stuff on, I told him I was back there looking at traffic, and I told him what the password was, but I didn't. I just looked at their email address, and they had 4 digits in their
Oh
email
my
address.
goodness.
And I said, I'll bet that's his password on his phone.
Oh my god.
That is hilarious.
He uses those same 4 numbers.
Bro, that's-
That's like one that.
Dude, you want to know what's funny? Because I actually know one of my coworkers. I know my coworker's
Yeah, it's
best.
easy.
He literally has it on his computer and on his Gmail.
You guys hear Aaron? He said he told somebody, I bet I can guess your bank PIN, the person's identification number, and I said, no, you can't, and he told him what it was. Same thing, he used the same 4 digits on stuff.
I forget mine.
You start developing patterns.
So nowadays, if you go buy a house, the realtor comes up, there's the key hanging on the door in that lockbox,
Yeah.
and they pull out their phone, and they hit something in here, and it authenticates them, and then that little lockbox opens, okay? But back in the day, there was just a number code on that thing, and the realtors would pass around themselves and say, oh yeah, the code of that house is this digit number. Well, I remember I went to look at a house once, I looked in there, and I was just driving by, and I said, I want to see this house. So I went up there, looked in the windows, and I said, yeah, I said, I'd like to get in, And I looked at the little lockbox.
And the number was on it.
Yeah, I could see which the numbers were dirtiest,
Yeah.
and I just, in like one try, boom, opened it. And I went in and looked around the house and stuff.
Man, this place is nice.
Yeah, I guess that's.
could really stay here. He really.
Yeah, no.
He calls the realtors while he's in the house. I'd like to buy this house. What do you mean?
So, anyway, we'll get into more of that later, but your data, you know, you need to know what data you have and where it is. When you get back there, what data do you have, you know, where is it, how are you protecting it, right?
Yes.
If you back up something I don't care about, then right now, how do you help, right? So figure out what your data is. How do the criminals get your money? They look at the dirtiest keys and then they get in, right? But a lot of them, like Androids, they got the little, you draw a little pattern on the whatever.
Yeah.
You can look at the phone, if you turn it, you can see the pattern. Where the oils on your phone left the swipe on there.
That's
You
why I
mean the
wipe
bills
mine
on
off
your
every
fingers?
once in a while.
Yeah, so wipe them off once in a while, or just be aware of that and don't use a little swipe, you know?
Yeah, use fingerprint
We're
scanning.
testing your theory to see if it's true.
Yeah, or
If you
just,
clean too
you know,
much.
facial
Yeah.
recognition.
I can imagine you were over there like.
I mean, if I'm correct, mine can be open.
This right here, creative schemes, you know,
But none of
they
my
will
friends
call
have a
old
photo of
people and tell them that they're so-and-so, I'm your grandson, and I'm in jail, I need some money. And people send it to them, you know? Somebody recently in Asheville that Karen knows, their mom got a call from the FBI or something, and they needed to be paid for whatever, and they needed to pay them in 6 $500 Visa gift cards. She went out and got 6 $500 Visa gift cards.
Sorry, I don't need to master
Um, and it's, you know, $3,000 gone. In Greenville, we had somebody last year in the fall, last semester, got a call, got an email from the boss. He needed some eBay gift cards, and he's like, I'll go right down and get them. He said, I saw the emails. He's like, sir, yeah, I'll go get that right now.
Sir, yeah, sir.
And took off, and then he texted the pictures of the money or the codes or whatever, and just threw $500 away.
They have gift cards for like anything.
Isn't that?
What's that?
They have gift cards for just about anything.
Yeah.
Anything you can think of.
And you should be suspect. I had somebody call me, I was in here one day, and she said, on the phone, she said, this is so-and-so from Chase.
John, I need a new bed.
And, she said, would you like to have a lower interest rate on your card? And I said, well, yeah. I said, I don't keep much on that card. I said, but, it used to be 4.99% fixed, and then they just systematically just raised all the rates. And so now it's like 14% or something. But I don't keep much money, you know, I don't carry a good balance on my card. But I said, yeah, I'd be interested in lower balance. And she said, well, how much is on your card now? I said, well, I don't know. I said, I just bought something. It's like $1,200. I said, I don't know. And then she asked me a couple other questions, and then she said, okay, well, let's start with your account number. What's your account number? And I said, well, tell me this. I said, do you know my account number? And she immediately hung up the phone. You know? And so,
Riddle me this.
yeah.
Man, you want?
And
You wanna
if
hear
she
this
did,
cool
if
trick?
she did, I was gonna like do a little math game with her, like, okay, what's the last number plus 3 or something like that. I was gonna ask her and see if that actually who it was. You know? But
Hey, bro, I need you to confirm.
all kinds of stuff. It's billions of dollars a year. People are stealing. You know, stealing. Get someone into what? What's that?
Take your,
Oh.
brain
You say that's your career path? Hey, let me tell you a true story about a student in this classroom. His dad was on my advisory committee, and his dad said that, and you may have heard the story, okay? But he said his dad, they came to work, and, you know, it's a company up here in Columbus, and, you know, it's 8:30 in the morning, and it's quiet, you know, but 9 o'clock rolls around, it's still kind of quiet, and they're like, wow, not much is going on today. You know, 9:30, 10 o'clock, you know, but about, 10, 11 o'clock, they're like, all right, something's wrong, you know, because none of the phones are ringing. So they started looking into it, and the day before, at like 6 in the evening or so, after they're closed and gone home, these attackers called Windstream, who was their service provider for their telephones and their internet. And they said, oh, we need to change our numbers, we need to port all our numbers to this other phone number. And so the person on Windstream says, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And they go ahead and made all the changes. And so now when you call their office, Well, instead of it calling to the front desk, it went to this guy's cell phone. And the next morning, someone else walks in the bank when they open with a $40,000 check, or 45, I don't remember, but $40,000 check. You know, real check, but they had stolen it. And they said, we'd like to cash this check. And the teller, she said, well, I need to call the office to see if they'll authorize that, because that's a lot of money. And they said, okay, so she picked up the phone, called the office. This other guy answered and said, oh yeah, he did some work for us. Yeah, that's a good check, go ahead and pay that. So she paid it and they left. And at the end, the company, they got none of that money back. Because Windstream did what they were supposed to do, the bank did what they were supposed to do, and the company didn't have any security procedures in place.
Okay, so the person didn't get fired for giving them the money?
The person that got fired, what?
The person of the teller that gave them the money get fired?
No, they did what they were supposed to do. They picked up the phone and they called the number, and they asked for permission to cash the check. Yeah, but that kind of stuff happens. You guys will see this in the chapter a lot. CIA right there. It's on the test too. Confidentiality,
That one TV
integrity,
show.
availability. Okay? And so, confidentiality, we know what that is. You want to keep things private, right? Integrity, that it's, the information you have is actually the correct information. You guys know what an MD5 hash checker is? I know you do.
Yes.
So you'll compare hashes in some of these labs, where you'll get a file and you'll compare the hash to see if it is actually the file that you think it is. All right, what that basically means is, I got a file, and if I run a math problem on it, I should come up with this particular answer, right? Well, if I make a copy of that file, I'm starting with a different part of the math problem. So when I run the math problem, I get a different answer. So this is not actually the file I think it is. You know, that's what a hash checker does. You're going to compare a hash. So basically, to verify that like when we do Cyber Patriots, they send us the files we need, and then they send a hash. And so once we download the file, we run the hash check on it with this little tool that you can download for free, and we should get the same answer. And if we don't, then we got the wrong file, or we didn't get all of the file. We missed a piece of it, so. Okay? And then availability, make sure it's available to the people that are supposed to have access to it. Over here one year, there was somebody over here hacking into their Minecraft server, and the student that was in that group, he said, oh, I'll fix that, and he ran over here and turned the server off. And I was like, all right, good, we kept him out, but now no one else can work, you know? So we gotta make it available to the people that are supposed to get to it, okay?
That is a sacrifice.
Fix that
I'm
real
willing to make.
quick. Back me.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a lab. I'll post this in NetCAD, and what you'll do is you will just follow the directions, and then when you're done, you'll submit it, okay? Work together with somebody possibly on it, but you will compare data with the hash. You will have a file, you'll hash it, and see what the answer is. And then you'll hash other files and see if it matches. And obviously, if it's not the right file, it's not going to match. Okay? So that's a lab you guys will get. Okay? I'll put that up. You'll see this in the lab too. Consequences of a security breach, ruined reputation. For probably 2 years after Target got hacked, Target's profits just dropped because nobody built Target. Because you swipe your card and they get your information, and stuff was getting stolen. And you remember how they got into the point of sale machines? Yeah, through the air conditioners. They came through the air conditioners and got through the network all the way to the AC system, or all the way to the point of sale system. Yeah. And here in the school, our air conditioner is on the network somehow. I don't know how they've done it. But I see the guy in the other room, maintenance, pull it up on his screen. So somehow it's connected. And everything else in the school except this classroom is on one big flat network. Yeah, it's poor. Yeah, poor planning. But ruined reputation, Jordan's complaint, should pay close attention to that one. Vandalism, you know, so, Jordan has, written something that he can crash computers, whatever else he's done. So, but that stuff happens, and of course, these things right here, you see what you would expect, theft, revenue loss, damage to intellectual property. This here, you guys want last passes?
Yes.
I think that's the dumbest thing in the world. What do you think of?
They just got breached.
Yeah, again?
Yeah.
Because this particular PowerPoint right here is 2017. That's
No,
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
2016.
I use last
Yeah.
Happened a couple months ago.
This happened in 2016.
a couple weeks ago.
Or yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would do this, but they advertise as being so secure because I got a password manager. I got one password to get to everything. Well, that sounds like a stupid idea to me, Yeah, I got all my passwords on here, as I was saying. However, if you were to, look at my passwords, like, here's my Chase. I looked it up the other day. The username is Sweet Junker, and the password, it says cryptic UTS date actual, which means nothing to you, but it means something to me. So, like I say, if I go look at something else, I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's iCloud. It says D company platoon leader. Okay. All right, you got to know. Yeah, I mean, it means nothing to you. To be honest, I believe the FBI would have a hard time figuring out what the actual word of that is. Now, it's more than just a word. It's actually letters, numbers, and that word. But it means something to me, So,
You just don't know.
and you can't look it up in the dictionary. So that, like I say, that's what I do for my passwords. Is I got them all in here, and the ones I can't remember, I go back and look and see what I've got. And they're all different too.
I use Bitwarden.
You use what?
Bitwarden, it's another password manager.
Do you guys remember the tool that the drug dealers and stuff were using?
Yeah, it's made by it, Joe.
It's made by the FBI?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, made by the CIA, yeah. But, so, yeah, anything, like one guy that I know, we were in a meeting once, this was up in Fayetteville, and, he was like, oh, yeah, well, what I do is I go in and I just create a contact, and my contacts are called passwords. He said, and I just keep it up to date in that. He was saying that was a good way of doing it. And somebody said, well, how many times do you ever go to something that says, would you like to sync your contacts? He went, like I hadn't thought about that. You go to Gmail or whatever, and you want to set up Gmail, I don't know, and it says, do you want to sync your contacts, and it just uploads all that information, He hadn't thought about that.
I do a thing on mine, on pretty much everything on mine, so they do get my password. I still have to have one of my devices to get into it.
Right. This one's, most of mine is the same way. You know what he means, right? 2FA?
Yeah, two-step block.
Yeah,
2FA.
two-factor authentication, yeah. So, that's what I got. I got a password that's not easily figured out, and two-factor authentication. Oh, it lives right there, yeah. Go ahead, what?
Well, when I did job shine on these available, even their computers to log in, you have to do it.
Really?
Yeah, and Chris, well, I have used Flipside now, but whenever he logged in, it sent a notification to Apple Watch and it just proved it was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. When I was at the VA last week, they had, smart cards. And so you would have a card, you put in the keyboard, that has your picture and everything on it, and then you would log in. Yep. But, I think LastPass is stupid. You guys know what this is, VTech, this breach.
Oh, I think I did hear about that one.
Do you guys know what that is?
Was that the one that was making like kids' toys or something?
Yeah, they had, little kids' tablets and stuff, and parents would buy them for the kids, like, oh, here you go, got your own tablet, the kids play games on it and everything. But the attackers would attack that thing and then get into the rest of the network. Yeah. And Equifax, you know, that's a big one there. So there's another lab you guys will see. And basically you have to do some research to find out some attacks and what was taken. Okay? And then what they, you know, what happened afterwards, like what did it cost them to correct it and that kind of stuff. Okay? So these are some different terms you'll see in the chapter.
You could, another job of these are penetration testers,
What's that?
right?
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Another job of these is penetration testers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is it the white
She said his job is, penetration testers. A guy I met at Fluor, remember I told you about him, where he went to do a pen test on a bank?
Mm-hmm.
And he got in, I mean, you have to swipe a card to get in. And remember how he got in?
Oh, the server door was unlocked or something.
Oh, no, he had a handful of boxes.
Oh, and he was like, yeah. can you
His
hold this
hands
for
were
me?
full,
Yeah, or can you-
and he waited until somebody was going to the door, and people are so helpful, they're like, oh, there you go. Come on in." I told you about me getting on site once, right, in the military, and, they got challenged a password, and he challenged me, and I got to reply with password, and it changes every day. And so, you know, as I pull up the site, I was telling the guy with me, I said, man, I don't know what the password is. And he did, and I said, all right, I got this. And so when I got up there, they stopped me, and he said, challenge might have been monitor, and the password might have been backpack. And he, you know, whatever, and he says, you know, hold, you know, he says, monitor. And I said, no. I said, I'm supposed to say that. I said, monitor. And he said, backpack, you know, and then let me on site. And I'm sure that later he was sitting there thinking, he's like, oh, wait a second, you know, that wasn't right, you know, and meanwhile, I'm already on the site. But the next day, I tried to do it again, because I didn't have a password then either, you know, 'cause it changes every day. And so I tried the same thing. I said, no, I'm supposed to say that. I'm, you know, monitor. And the guy went, like that. And he started laughing. I said, no. And I said, all right, I don't know the password. So he had to call somebody. But anyway, attackers, amateurs, right here, script kiddies, no skill. These are people that download an attack and they edit it for their own use. They don't really know how to do it. And then there's hackers, and white hat hackers are penetration testers. These are people making money.
A lot of white ones gotta be
Gray
good.
hat hackers, there we go Jordan right here.
Imagine that's the
Yes.
current information.
So Jordan finds out all kinds of stuff, and he might tell the company, like, hey, I got in. Or he might just, you know, play around, goof off, say, oh, look what I can do. But he's not really breaking anything. Because even this thing that Jordan did in here, yeah, it's irritating, whatever else. But is it really breaking anything? Nah, it's not really breaking anything. Right?
All right,
Right,
well
Jordan?
done.
Right? You agree with that? And then black hat attackers, these are people who are trying to get in to steal something.
A lot of black ones gotta be bad.
Some guy in California, they sentenced him to like, 48 years or something, you know, for black hat attack.
I'm one of them.
Right here, organized hackers, these are, you know, hacktivists, you know, state sponsored, they're trying to break something and destroy something for political reasons or whatever. Just so you know where a lot of these cyber criminals come from? Well, he said India, but a great deal of them, yeah, India,
It's Russia for sure.
Russia. Yeah, Russia.
Cybers.
You know why
Had a
so many
really
of them
rough
come from
time.
Russia? Because the Russians are highly educated and really smart, and there's not a lot of job opportunities. And so then they turn into doing something else to make money. So there's a lot of this comes from Russia. And we used to use Kaspersky, which is a antivirus software. But to be honest, I just didn't really trust it because it came from Russia. And I'm like, who's the guy that wrote this? I said, I'm going to put a little, you talk in the Russian accent, I can't do it. Yeah, I'm gonna put a little back door in here so I can get in and steal stuff, you know, so I didn't know if it was, you know, I just didn't trust it, so. Yeah, how many languages can you speak, Constantine? Like 3?
supposed to know for it, but I only do.
Oh,
Three,
which one?
yeah.
Which one? Yeah.
I allegedly took 2 semesters of Spanish, but didn't learn a single word.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
It was online.
Oh, well, that's why.
English
You
and
just
German.
cheated your way through it.
Yeah.
I'm not a good online.
I don't think anybody is. Let's be honest.
So, if you look here, internal and external threats, right here, you got Jordan, right there. Internal threats, Jordan knows passwords, he knows his way around, he's in the building, you know, trusted partners. I tell Jordan, I say, yeah, you're gonna do this for me, right? Yeah, I'll take care of it right here. Well, the next thing I know, he's crashing somebody's computer over here, right? So, but you have people that are disgruntled
It was
employees and so forth, and then you got outsiders, which are the things we just talked about.
You're over there hacking into something.
Yeah, that's right. What are you doing right now, right? You guys know what Stuxnet is?
Stucks.
You guys remember Stuxnet? I got a video that we'll watch this semester on cyber warfare, right there, cyber warfare. So Stuxnet was the Iranians, rather. They have, they're trying to get a nuclear weapon, they really want one bad, and so, we're trying to keep them from getting it. And so they got this whole nuclear facility with all these centrifuges, and they got these Siemens, PLCs. You know what a PLC is? Programmable Logic Controller.
Oh,
And-
it's PLC coding language, right?
What's that?
Isn't PLC a coding language?
PLC coding?
Language, isn't it like a language?
Well, PLC stands for a number of things, but in this case, it's a programmable logic controller.
So I'm pretty sure it's also a language that you can do.
But we use PLCs all the time, like the air conditioner upstairs in the roof has a PLC on it. Basically, something tells the PLC to, open the switch or whatever and turn on the air conditioner, And so PLCs do all kinds of different things. So with Stuxnet, they figured out which PLC was running these centrifuges, and they got in there and they wrote this software. And what it would do, first it wouldn't replicate more than like twice. It'd go from wherever it came into the network and go to like 2 things and stop. And then when it came in again, it would go to like 2 things and stop. And we keep doing this until they got enough things, were infected, and then they could like turn them all on. And what they would do is they would spin the centrifuges out of tolerance, and they would destroy the machine. And they destroyed like 11,000, I think, centrifuges over a few months. But they tried to keep it secret, where they just thought something else was happening, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's a big deal. They still haven't said we did it, but I think it's ready. But that plant was not on the internet. So you know how they got it in there?
Wasn't it?
Wasn't it like a flash drive or something?
Yeah, they would drop thumb drives in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
And employees would carry them in the building and say, what's this? And they'd stick it in their computer to see what's on it. And then it would introduce it into the network, and they'd run around and do whatever they're gonna do. But they said it was very, very, very complicated. The most complicated thing that they've seen to date. So anyway, it's pretty cool. Watch something in the chapter on that. I think they have videos in there. And we'll watch something about stuff there. Just recently, somebody in North Carolina shot a substation, I forget what town it was in, and shut down like hundreds of thousands of houses. And so they're also trying to attack our electrical grid. That video I've got, they show them with a laptop and they're driving a car on a racetrack, and they say, all right, we're gonna engage the brakes. Ready, 3, 2, 1. You see the guy hit enter, and the whole car just locks up, and they nearly crash it actually, which they didn't intend to do. But the whole car, all the brakes lock up, and they hacked the car,
Oh, yeah.
and then they got into the system, and that's not supposed to be able to happen.
That's why electric cars suck.
Yeah.
Well, this was a Chrysler with an engine.
It better be a newer one because
But what's gonna happen with the newer, like when they get electric cars, like, oh, they can drive by themselves and everything, and somebody says, make all the cars go to this intersection, and everyone's piling up, just crash into each other into an intersection.
I
see all kinds of people.
I have a whole, competition that was like a hack-a-sack.
Oh, yeah?
They throw the satellite up for people to hack it.
Yeah, yeah, it's neat stuff, but that's why we gotta do, all these different VLANs and write ACLs and other things, you know, so we'll be doing that. What we did in the Gulf War, just, you know, just saying, their electrical system, we wanted to take it down, but we didn't want to destroy it because we want to turn it back on, you know? So we would drop these bombs that just had these big long ribbons of aluminum foil. And it would just flutter down over top of all the wires and connect stuff that wasn't supposed to be connected, and the system would shut down. And then we could come back later and clean off all that aluminum foil and turn everything back on. So that was cool. All right, so that's it for chapter 1. I'm gonna put those two assignments in there.